place in Acadia National Park is the Ladder Trail. Please welcome to the stage, big round of applause for Sarah Lupini.
I've got a 40-pound pack on my back, sweaty shoulder straps digging in, and freezing cold water rushing through my Crocs as I step into the raging river. I've only just begun, and I'm already annoyed with myself. Why do I choose to spend my vacation time putting my body through the hell of backpacking 100 miles through Maine's wilderness? I could be relaxing on a beach with a drink. That would be lovely. It would be great if that was my idea of how to spend a vacation. But honestly, spending a week out in Maine's woods, hiking every day through dense forest and mountains, barely seeing any signs of human life, not having to shower for a week, and just living the simplicity of eat, sleep, hike, repeat, that's my idea of a good time.
Scale, which is in kilograms, a tape measure, which is in inches and centimeters, but we like the centimeter side. And I suggest when you roll these up that if you just press the button, it will whip your hands. So I always just roll up slowly. And then we have these 3 cones, which I will show you what we do with them down in the intertidal, but it's essentially we're using them to mark certain distances so that you can pick that up and move it to another place while we're working. So, does anyone have any questions about that so far? I will explain in more detail when we get down there. All right, excellent. When we start out, what we're doing right now is setting up our whole site. So we're working off of this transect information, and what she's doing is finding the center of the bed right now. So, essentially the importance of this step, having this run from that water line up to here, is that you want to find where the center of your ascophyllum is so that you can then set up your parallel transect. And what we're doing here is,
pick this up?
Yeah, you can pick it up, but if you want to stay there, because we're gonna have to run it parallel, so I don't want to make you walk more than you have to.
I just start walking.
Okay, so this doesn't have to be 30.
No, this does not have to be 30, and there's
That's
a
where
place
you put.
for bed width, and width is always perpendicular. And width 1 goes at that first cone. Well, width 1 is going to be where you are first starting. What she just did was take width 1, that was 20 meters, and so we'll write 20 into the data sheet.
All right.
Stop. So, are we showing something new?
Yeah, just seeing the joy in their eyes when they get excited about seeing something new. Like I took a kid out to do the Jonah crab monitoring yesterday morning, and they hadn't seen sea stars or sea urchins before, and they were psyched to see them. It was like 6 a.m. so they were half asleep still, but they picked them up and they were just so happy to be seeing them and learning about them. I shared fun facts about their stomach inverting, and they were just flipping out and didn't even see any Jonah crabs the whole time, but they still had a great morning. I think just seeing that excitement in them is really fulfilling for me.
And the only way we can do that is by understanding science not in the specific, but in the general. Our system of education has always been about going from the general to the specific. I went to grade school, I went to middle school, I went to high school, still general, got my bachelor's degree, which is general, got a master's, a little more specific, and I threaten my wife every once in a while that I'll get a doctorate. But that is going to the pinnacle because that's the Western ideal of education. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes when we get to that pinnacle, we forget how everything else interacts with the world around you. Because my Indian education, the education that I was brought up with by my late grandfather on my paternal side, Charles F. Sims Sr., was when he gave me a rock. And he told me, and I will ask you questions when I was about 5. I'm gonna ask you questions from time to time about this rock, and you need to tell me things about it. And he would ask me, how did the rock get created? Why did the rock visit the river? Who do you think walked across the rock? What types of animals may have swam by the rock or crawled on the rock? It took me until I was in high school that I was realizing that I was took a very specific thing and was getting to the general. to understand my ecosystem, to understand how it functions, and my responsibility for stewarding the flora and fauna. And so if we can marry the Western science with those more general ideas of how those very specific elements play into the general, we will have a much more holistic approach in how we're going to tackle climate change and land